one. That's a it's a tricky one, and so interesting to see right up into the. I don't even want to. We're giving it away that it's at the last moment, but right up.
Yeah, that's what my bash is.
Oh, no. That's something that is going to keep everybody engaged. I mean, they're engaged anyway, but right up into that very last moment. My God, I can't remember last time that was so.
See, during COVID, my boyfriend and I are long distance, so during COVID, I was able to finally see him, and, things got out of hand, and some faces went in certain places, and I came back home to Toronto, and during the height of COVID, got tonsillitis.
From that?
I'm assuming so. There was I'm wearing masks, I'm not going out anywhere. I was going to a small town.
Wow.
And then when I brought this up, when we put two and two together, I brought this up, and he had said that had happened to another friend of his as well.
These are the things they have to be teaching you in health class when you're a kid.
Right.
Nothing wrong with a utility shower before you start getting into it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, drinks were involved, so that kind of logic might have just...
$37.50 to make your reservations for the Fur Ball, or visit the events.
Julie would want a horn so she could notify people to get the hell out of the way.
Okay.
April says she would want headlights or autopilot. Sure,
Yeah.
obviously.
How about brake lights would be pretty handy if someone in front of you had them. You know those people, you're at Costco or something and they just stop all of a sudden, you almost hit them?
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have that advance warning. You see the red light come on, you're like, oh, we're about to stop.
That's
Let's
right.
go.
Or even a turning signal. Like, let me know you're going to be turning. That's important information. And Wilmer would want one of those catalytic converters.
Catalytic
converter.
Yeah.
So his sorry ass would be worth something.
Okay.
And I know what I wouldn't mind actually is like an odometer in my like wrist or something like that, so I could like track my steps.
Oh, well.
Lifetime steps.
Yeah.
I mean, you have that in your phone
Yeah,
already.
you go
Yeah, but if you don't have your phone on you, you know, it's just not tracking it.
Okay.
It'd just be kind of fun, you know, to see like a
Yeah.
lifetime achievement. You know, at the end of my life, I've walked 1,275,000 steps.
Yeah, an ongoing
Yeah,
one that was
yeah.
always there. Then if you want to date someone younger, you just roll it back. Find somebody to do that.
Jackie would want a spare tire.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
what's-
work.
Maybe that's just an excuse
Like
for...
break your leg, just take it off, put another
Yeah, I
little
wouldn't
one on,
understand
like just a skinny little one though. So the old one's all fixed up and
Yeah.
ready to go, put it back on.
John has an idea.
Yeah.
He's like, how about a muffler so you can fart anytime you want, but it's all taken care of. You don't have to
Good
worry
one,
about anything.
Yeah, and no one can. Maybe you can.
It's muffled.
Or if you want, you can be the guy who has the amplified system.
Yeah.
But it just makes it a little louder, so you can hear you coming a mile away. It's, oh my God,
It's John.
John.
Tucker and Maura on 102.1 The Edge and The Weekend Show.
candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right.
You believe, 'cause I'm only human after all.
6797-7995 or email pradeep.menon@mortgagegroup.com. FSRA 10315.
ജീവിതത്തിൽ നിങ്ങൾ എന്താണ് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്? ആയുരാരോ?
Também é especialista na remoção de nervos. Portanto, senão já estavas contratado para um trabalho voluntário. É lá a casa do amigo da tua mãe.
Reasons. No matter where they're from or why they're here, a warm Canadian welcome can make a difference. There are many ways to make a newcomer feel at home. A friendly greeting, an introduction to neighbors, or a simple offer of help getting settled into your community. Visit canada.ca/warm-welcome to find out how. Message brought to you by the Government of Canada.
Welcome to It's a Match with Perfecto. Contestant number 1. In Toronto last March, the temperature was 4 degrees Celsius or above a total of how many days? Oh, incorrect. There were 16 days above 4 degrees Celsius. When it's 4 degrees Celsius and above, it's time to give Perfecto to your dog and your cat. Talk to your vet about Perfecto or Vitrecto and go to perfecto.ca to save up to $35 per pet. Some conditions apply. It's a perfect match made to last.
The next Lotto 649 Gold Ball jackpot is big. Like really big. It's a huge $40 million. And
Are we talking a public committee where we're going to be bringing information into the public domain and people are going to get answers? I don't think people are going to be satisfied with that. You're going to want to look at the actual information and the intelligence, and you're going to look at the emails and the sticky notes and the meeting appointments and stuff like that. And that has to be in an in-camera venue. And you're going to have people who are obviously cleared to do that, and then there has to be trust for Canadians to say, okay, that's the right decision. To air it like perhaps the convoy, and we're going to have everyone from Premier Xi coming in and testifying, it's not going to happen, not to be facetious.
From my perspective, I think 2 things need to happen. We need to look at retrospectively what occurred in 2019 and 2021, and there are institutions that were recently created in order to do that kind of review.
Like this is the NSI COP,
the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, where you have both
it just rolls off the tongue.
It does. I've never mentioned that organization before.
Join the Burn, a 24-hour commemorative gathering at Nathan Phillips Square on March 11th. Visit toronto.ca/theburn.
Welcome to the New Haven Funeral Centre, Canada's largest boutique-style funeral.
You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes. I thank you all, but it's been no bed of roses.
Dehydrate in the winter and be dead like golden brown as soon as the ground starts to thaw, because they've lost all their moisture through their needles and their various leaves, etc., through the sun and the wind in the winter when the ground is frozen. So burlap protects from moisture loss.
It's a real Canadian superstore. And that's actually the only step. With programs like AdMatch, No Name Products, and PC.
and from students to understand what other structural things need to be in place. Because again, just spending more money is not going to do the trick. How do we make it easier? If a kid, if I'm a teacher and I've got a kid in grade.
Ask your teacher to register your class for Soaring. Will be 2 days of action-packed, entertaining information about university, college, and vocational trade schools. It's free and it's online or in person. Teachers can register online now. Inspire.ca. That's INDSPIRE.ca.
Are you an early childhood educator looking for a more rewarding? Lotto 649 Gold Ball Jackpot is big.
Viendo las apariciones del sol, y en este instante contamos con el 80% de humedad. Una gran tormenta de invierno azotó el sur de Ontario con fuertes vientos y nevadas significativas, por lo que te invitamos a tomar tus precauciones, ir con cuidado en la calle, abrigarte muy bien y que llegues con bien a tu destino.
Ondas FM, más que una radio.
¿Estás sin plan en las tardes?
Aburrido mientras conduces solo de regreso a casa o rumbo al trabajo.
Te tengo la solución. Sintoniza ¿Qué onda? Con Lucía González y Daniel Faura en los 100.7 FM.
Lunes a viernes desde las 5 de la tarde.
Y si quieres estar informado con el resumen de las noticias más relevantes del día, conéctate con Diana Lora. They do have an actively growing season, and then they need a dormant period. The purple one particularly needs a dormant period.
An auto insurance.
And?
Make winter her wonderland.
You are correct.
Yes.
House producer Kenny Sharp went to ask students at Memorial University in St. John's.
Cinematography, they're so big on cinematography.
Oh, it's absolutely wild. Yeah, their cinematography is next level. I read that it's going to take a month to make each episode because that's how particular they're being with the shooting.
Overkill.
But no, it's not. No, it's not. Listen, I know that you don't watch it. Actually, you do. You just watch it over Natalie's shoulder. However, if you watched it properly, you understand how
I'd be
good it is.
properly depressed like everybody else who watches
Yeah, I want to be depressed. I will be depressed for Zendaya. I will.
Well, so the backlash is interesting because people are saying, well, is anybody worth that kind of money? Here's what I want to say. You got a show that pulls in 20-25 million viewers a night.
Yeah.
You're worth more than $1 million.
Yeah.
That's a discount. Here's what you should be mad at. What do you think the guy who signs her checks makes? What do you think the heads of HBO were making? Yeah. And listen, it's a very successful service, but we're talking hundreds of millions per year in executive bonuses.
That's right.
So let's not hate on Zendaya, who has earned this, has been working since she was a kid, coming up through Disney, getting underpaid. Man, $1 million an episode, it should be more.
Absolutely, and this is not an easy role to play. She is also a woman, and she is a woman of color.
Yeah.
Pay her like you pay the white old men on top of her. Honestly.
And I feel like this. I feel like this.
Yeah.
The regular scheduled programming was interrupted with this message, and the wife and the son seem very concerned.
Nuclear strikes fallouts, which will affect everyone. Should the main
We're getting attacked. This is an emergency broadcast.
Surely you have a 14-day supply of
What's happening? Just see
I mean, super British sounding, by the way.
Yeah, well, just watching footy. I was watching footy and this came up on the telly. I almost grabbed in my knickers.
How would you not fall for it, though? Like, I would fall for it.
Sure.
It sounded professional.
Sure. I don't think the point is that he tricked them. I think the point is it's a terrible prank to play on your family.
You should have seen your faces.
You idiots. Not everyone was gonna die. Everyone you loved and ever knew.
This has been another edition of Hey, Remember That with Taz and Jim.
If you have a complaint about something you've heard on today's show, please be sure to listen to their apology weekday mornings from 5:30 to 9.
On Hamilton's Rock, Y108.
Youngpeoplestheater.org. Prodigal plays at the Streetcar Crow's Nest until March 12th. Crowtheaters.com. This is Critics Circle, and we'll be back in a moment and joined by Phil Kong of Gospel Underground. Welcome back to Critics Circle. I'm Phil Taylor, your host.
este virus, algunos de los cuales pueden progresar a lesiones de alto riesgo que pueden derivar en cáncer, y definitivamente es algo que no queremos. En la mayoría de los casos, las personas afectadas con este virus no presentan síntomas o signos de infección, sino siendo pertinente efectuar un chequeo médico regular. Eso es lo que recomiendan.
Mr. Meatball didn't help at all. So I said, hey, sometimes I don't use all my data. Let's go with rollover data. A great choice by me, if I say so myself. To learn more, visit us in store or go to kudo.com today. Conditions apply.
I think I'm running out of water. Windshield water.
Rock and a hard place. Between a rock and a hard place.
Your home sold guaranteed. Frank Leo of Remax is a...
If you're quite interested in getting that Blue Angel clematis, Sherry reminded me about a very, very...
Put out 2 drafts of the new maps, and MPs in many provinces have already had their last chance to dispute the changes.
Watakuramura, 102.1, The Edge.
Celebrating the Lenten season, getting set for St. Patrick's Day. Moving the grill out of the garage and back to the patio. Oh, yes! Yes! The things we do to get us to spring, and the best music to help you get it all done, is on Star 102.5. It's about to go.
Niagara Falls. It's time. Pitbull. Live in concert. Pitbull. The party of a lifetime. OLG stage at Falls View Casino. Saturday, April 8th. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster. For more, hit pitbullmusic.com.
I'm on fire at all.
Now at Wendy's until March 12th, get it.
Like you've never smiled. Unforgettable 5-star dining experience. Lighthouse Art Space Toronto, 1 Yonge Street. Tickets at DisneyImmersive.com.
Saison. En effet, la saison 2022-2023 marque les 29 ans de l'ensemble vocal et voix du cœur, saison qui s'annonce joyeuse et pleine de vie. L'ensemble vocal a cœur d'offrir chaque année des spectacles de qualité exceptionnelle, et ce depuis 1994. Cette année verra le grand retour de l'ensemble sur la scène du théâtre Isabelle Bader en juin 2023. Un des objectifs du groupe est de faire connaître et apprécier la richesse de la chanson d'expression française et internationale à un public francophone et francophile amateurs de beaux spectacles. Pour information, les répétitions ont lieu chaque mercredi de la mi-septembre à la fin mai, de 18h30 à 21h à l'auditorium des écoles secondaires catholiques Saint-Frère André et Public Toronto-Ouest, au 330 avenue Lansdowne, ainsi qu'un samedi après-midi par mois de 13h à 17h, toujours au même endroit. Alors toutes celles et ceux qui voudraient se joindre au groupe Dynamique sont invités à se présenter dès 18h30 à l'une des répétitions jusqu'à la fin octobre. Et si vous souhaitez également avoir de plus amples informations concernant l'ensemble
something into you.
Lay you down, turn me up, girl. I make the magic flow.
There.
Exactly. This is your future here. You got to make sure those dinner parties are secure. For most of us, it's not necessarily that TikTok is in a much different state than other social media applications. In studies that were done, there are a few cases where some things have come, there have been errors, but TikTok has changed. There are some questions about, even though the data is stored, so your personal information is stored on servers in the US, which TikTok has declared, it could still be accessed by officials from China. For most of us, that's unlikely to be a problem. There's very little that you might be doing that could be. In general, we want to be having these conversations about social media. So I guess the question is, if you aren't going to delete many social media applications, it's not that TikTok is necessarily a standout. We want to think about what rules are governing what we track, our location sharing, our profile building across many social media applications. That absolutely is something that we sort of need across many applications. We need to have this conversation of what's acceptable, how much monitoring we're allowing, what are the outcomes for kids. This is a bigger conversation than just should we delete TikTok when you get home tonight.
One last question: Should anyone who has phones in the private sector who provides phones for their employees, should they remove TikTok? Should they remove all social media?
Right, so my guess is you talk to any IT professional in those companies and they say, well, that should already be the case. The things people actually do are often in sort of violation of what corporate policy might be. It used to be corporate might have a BlackBerry back a decade ago that they maintain, and you might have a personal phone. Now, of course, phones are expensive. We tend to have one device. We don't want to carry multiple devices. But from a security point of view, it's not great to have this sort of environment. It is a little bit better than your laptop in that a mobile phone is a little more secure environment. Certainly if you have Apple, they have much more privacy concerns, and they're definitely moving in that direction. Android is a little bit more open from a security point of view. But were I a company maybe dealing with a CEO level where somebody might be interested in finding out information they have, then I might want to really pay a lot more attention to the security of that device. But again, for most of us who are regular employees, it's probably not a huge deal, excepting for the part where people reuse passwords. So if you have an unsecure device in one place, potentially a bad actor could use that to get access to your corporate accounts as well.
Richard Lackland, Associate Professor at Toronto Metropolitan University, expert on privacy and social media. Thank you for this.
Sure, thanks. You take care.
So have you heard about AI or ChatGPT? Unsure about what it all means? Well, you're not alone. Shalisa Backus explains how it works and the impact on education.
We are hearing about AI or artificial intelligence more and more these days, and ChatGPT has created quite the buzz. If you need a crash course on what this tool is, it's defined as a natural language processing tool driven by AI technology that allows you to have human-like conversations and much more with a chatbot. So this language model can answer questions and assist you with tasks such as composing emails, essay, and even code. So ChatGPT was created by OpenAI, and get this, Elon Musk is actually one of the founders of the company. While he is no longer involved, before leaving, he said that ChatGPT is scary good, and we're not far from dangerously strong AI. The rise of artificial intelligence raises a lot of questions and concerns, mainly for those in the education field. Joining me to talk more about this is Assistant Professor Leslie Wilton from the Faculty of Education at York University. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to talk about this topic.
It's a burning topic for so many people. And right off the bat, have you, as a professor, seen an increase in ChatGPT's use? And if you have, how can you tell?
That's a great question. I've seen a lot of interest in ChatGPT from educators. I follow a lot of people on Twitter. And I think that I'm seeing more and more people talking about what do we do about this. I think that there will be an increase in it, although many times when I've gone to use it, it's been too busy. And that's really a challenge too. In my course, we look at ChatGPT and think about how it could be used and what it could be used for and what makes it work. What does it do in terms of data collection? What biases might be found in there? What are the security risks? So we really look at it critically. I've heard of other educators who are using ChatGPT to write lesson plans and then have their students go through the lesson plan and think critically about what it proposed. It's not a perfect model. It's not a person, and it makes mistakes. It's got information from a closed data set. So on the one hand, you've got a closed data set that may not give you as much misinformation about particular groups, but on the other hand, we have to worry about how is the information being controlled. So that's a long answer to is it being used, from what I'm reading on Twitter from my colleagues and other educators. A lot of people are interested in integrating it into teaching because our students will need to know about it, and it's better for them to learn about it.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, on the student side, I'm sure there are a lot of people using it as well. And, when I was going through university, it was like, do not plagiarize. And while technically ChatGPT isn't exactly plagiarism, it is essentially doing the work for the students. So how do you think this affects the quality of learning?
Oh, I think it's concerning because I think it can be plagiarizing if ChatGPT is returning information from a data set that may have been gathered on the internet that was written by somebody else. Then if sort of institutions that have banned the use of ChatGPT, I'm not sure how that could be monitored. I've heard of people that have written programs. There was a U of T student, I believe, wrote a program to detect plagiarism, and they're not perfect, those systems. I think, there's always been a risk of plagiarism, and I think it's more important for us to educate our students on AI literacy. Those AI literacies are really important for our students to understand where is this information coming from. Is it correct? Because ChatGPT has been known to return information that's incorrect, and then cite it properly. It's a tool. We should be teaching our students how to use that tool and how to understand it.
I like that. I like that a lot. And, the workload, it does tend to pile up for a lot of students. And sometimes you're just looking for that shortcut. And that is also what ChatGPT can offer for a lot of students. So you kind of mentioned this already, but how would you encourage students to do their work organically?
I think ChatGPT offers us the opportunity to think critically about the information that it's providing to us. So go ahead and ask GPT to answer a question like, what is artificial intelligence? And then look at that answer and think about how does that make sense? Is it cited? Is it cited correctly? Because sometimes ChatGPT will return citations that don't actually exist. For most people that are teaching, they've already provided resources. So I've already provided in my course, for example, resources that explain what artificial intelligence is. And so I've provided those, so why not take the definitions that I've provided in the course and then compare them to what ChatGPT is providing and think about that critically too. I think the learning would be deepened by that process.
That's interesting. So I think that there is good to this that can come out of it if it's used properly, is basically what you're saying.
Yes, I think we just have to learn to use the tool properly because I don't think banning it or telling our students not to use it is going to work.
Okay, and obviously this is going to develop so much more, and the way AI and artificial intelligence works in the next couple of years is going to look very different than it does now. So what do you think that the future of education looks like with AI developing more and more?
Yeah, that's a great question. One I think about often. A lot of us have been chatting about this as well. Do we consider it to be a disruptive technology? I think it could be. I think it's disruptive because it forces us as educators to think about how to integrate the technology into our teaching and into our students' learning. And that's the disruptive part, that it provides us with new ways of doing things. But that's the thing, the technology is changing all the time. You have to learn about it. The most difficult thing is not every educator has a technical background. In terms of AI literacy, we need AI literacy to help us understand what these tools mean. They mean to our students. What are the biases? What are the ethics involved? That kind of thing. And educators are busy people. They work hard. And so to learn about these technologies is a challenge. But I think we'll develop our AI literacies. I just think that it's important for us to have an opportunity to develop those literacies about artificial intelligence.
Yes, 100%. And I feel like there are so many more questions that people have, but those are probably only questions that can be answered with time. All I think we can say right now is that doing schoolwork and even work for educators is going to look very different over the next few years.
Yes, I agree. I agree with that.
Dr. Leslie Wilton from the Faculty of Education at York University, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
If you missed any part of the feed, please go to 1059theregion.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible. I'm Ann Romer. Thank you so much for listening.
Get off the couch and shake off the winter rust at Steel Peak Rock Climbing and Pond. With over 7,000 square feet of indoor climbing walls and the always exciting Ninja Warrior Fort.
McKenzie and Highway 400 and Highway 7 and Flagstaff. Download the free TO Waste app to access your waste collection schedule and drop off.
Vous écoutez TFM 91.1.
Listener supported. Jazz FM 91. It's Weekend B&B with Hannah Bambrick and Brad Parker. Think of it as your weekend.
Senators face criticism over a trip to Israel and for meeting with right-wing politician Amir Ohana, the Speaker of the Israel.
You're listening to Chin Radio.
Unnecessary travel, at least until the main roads can be cleared. If you're planning to fly out of Pearson Airport today, you'll want to check ahead to make sure it's still ready for liftoff. Dozens of flights in and out of Pearson were canceled or delayed last night. The Ontario Liberals are set to vote today on which way they want to choose their next leader. Steve Del Duca resigned last year after the provincial election and went on to become mayor of Vaughan. Nobody's officially thrown their hat into the ring just yet, but a few party members on the federal and provincial levels are openly exploring bids. The UN is expecting the number of refugees to rise this year. Almost half of the number of people in Syria were already displaced by civil war when last month's earthquake struck. They say the quake has created a crucial need for housing. The number of displaced people around the world is expected to be double this year what it was 8 years ago. Party leaders on the federal and
to help civilians flee the beleaguered eastern town.
Gotta be talking about that. Gunshots got on my mind. Like
Kobe Jordan. Tessa Thompson.
Maybe you should have this for a new party executive selected this weekend.
Jusqu'à l'âge de 14 ans. Ah oui. Alors, ça fait. Je me souviens beaucoup de mes expériences au Mozart.
Busy, you're working, you have a family, you're keeping it together for the people, and you're setting the examples. I try to do the same thing, but where do you think we need to start to educate people? I mean, it's one thing for me to say I have a patient that comes to my office, is about 30 pounds overweight. I have to painfully have this conversation and say, well, if you want to feel better, be able to move better, we're going to drop the weight. That's what I feel is my responsibility. But from your perspective, what do you think is the place to start?
The place to start is the awareness. And I don't know if we're there. Like, I think people understand being diabetic or being obese has risk, but I don't know if they know to what extent.
1065 Element FM. Urban building, the shoveling will begin now, right? Yeah, so give yourself a lot of time. Maybe do it in chunks today because there's a lot of snow out there. It is heavy too, mixed. It feels really wet, so very heavy. If you are going to be out shoveling, take a break, do some stretching as well. Don't forget. And I want to do a shout out for all the snowplow drivers who've been working all night long to clear our roads. Thank you. We love you, right? Yes, because, man, there was a lot of snow last night, and police are still staying. If you don't have to be on the roads, stay home, right? We got a snow day. Come on, snow day Saturday. Let's just hang, chill, with a little bit of shoveling in there. Tragically Hip, it's ahead by a century. Good morning. It's Q107.
First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit side. Listen to our thoughts. Don't let them
cantonné à ce rôle par des hommes, mais ici, on comprend que Piaf a vraiment été une muse pour Marguerite Monod.
Si yo fuera el dueño de tu corazón.
Winona Zelenka grew up in Toronto, where she studied cello with William Findlay and Vladimir Orlov. She earned her Bachelor of Music degree and artist diploma at Indiana University, where she studied with the legendary cellist and teacher Janos Starker.
The house on a hill, girl, not in them. So hang on to these words for them avenues, help you forget them. Cause I love you more than a California sun. Doesn't get better than this.
They'll believe that you have to wait 48 hours to report.
Maybe it's
Mother watched so